Hello, Belmont. This is Hannah Fisher with your community calendar. Welcome to 2026. I spent a little time heading down an internet rabbit hole the other day. I know I am not alone in this. Anyway, I found myself looking at predictions made in 1926 about what life would be like in 2026. One interesting prognosticator was British newspaper editor and author James Douglas. In an era of flappers and economic uncertainty, here are a few of Douglas's 1926 predictions for 2026. 1. Nations will live in permanent peace. 2. Diseases, including cancer, will be eliminated. 3. Jazz and gramophones will disappear. 4. Cinemas will close. 5. We'll live in a vegetarian age. 6. Machines will save us time. And 7. We'll be able to communicate from 4,000 miles away. I will refrain from editorializing on these predictions, but suffice it to say that he definitely got a few things right. What I don't need a crystal ball to see about 2026 is that there are great events happening in Belmont. So, with that, on to Belmont in 2026. Let's start off 2026 learning about the youth of Belmont. The Belmont Wellness Coalition will release its Youth Health Survey results at an event on Tuesday, January 13th from 7 to 8 p.m. in the Belmont High School Black Box Theater. Come hear about the state of our middle and high schoolers' mental health. Learn if bullying behavior is on the rise. What do you think our teens are most worried about? Is substance use by Belmont youth going up or declining? Come with your questions. No registration is required for this important event. For many, not a day goes by without a phishing email asking for a bank account or an invoice arriving for something you didn't buy. And don't get me started on all the royalty that can get me $1 million if only I wire them a much smaller sum. It's extremely difficult for the most tech and financially savvy among us to tell if something is fraud. Thankfully, the Beach Street Center will hold a financial education and fraud workshop on Tuesday, January 13th. Cambridge Savings Bank VP and Financial Education Specialist Evan Diamond will discuss the various types of fraud, tips on how to protect your identity, how to spot warning signs of identity theft, and how to be password smart. Registration is required for this 1:15 to 2:15 p.m. seminar. Call 617-993-2700 to take part in this event. Please join the Belmont Human Rights Commission and Belmont Against Racism to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy. This inspiring event on Monday, January 19th at 10 a.m. at Belmont High School features an amazing speaker, breakfast, and musical performances. This year's keynote speaker is Dr. Sophia Boyer. Her work offers essential models for supporting communities through socially responsive, human-centered practices that foster environments where collaboration is energizing, purposeful, and deeply fulfilling. This event is free and all are welcome. Registration and additional information is available at belmontagainstracism.org. Belmont World Film, BWF, is a nonprofit that creates cultural exchanges and understanding through the screening of the world's top films, often followed by discussions led by expert speakers. The BWF began with the premise that foreign language film is not only a vehicle for hearing another language in action, but can also foster an emotional understanding of other cultures. This year's Family Film Festival runs the weekends of January 17th and January 24th, with workshops held at Belmont Media Center on January 24th. Films range from British film Billy the Cowboy Hamster, a movie about a hamster that has always dreamed of being a cowboy, to German film A Girl Named Willow, about an 11-year-old who inherits a forest and magical powers. For a complete list of films and workshops, visit belmontworldfilm.org. On to a more serious subject, we head over to Bethel Temple on Thursday, January 22nd for a table talk discussion with Dr. David Laser, Northeastern University Distinguished Professor of Political Science and Computer Sciences. Dr. Laser will share insights gleaned from the Civic Health Institutions Project, a 50-state survey undertaking that he has co-directed for the last 5 years. His talk will examine the status of general public opinion today, with a focus on attitudes about Israel and anti-Semitism. Tickets and registration information are available at betheltemplecenter.org. At Belmont Books on Wednesday, January 28th at 7 p.m., author and historian Kelly Carter Jackson, in conversation with Ilyan Wu, will discuss her book, We Refuse. Named a Best Book of 2024 by Kirkus, the Chicago Review of Books, and Emancipator, We Refuse offers examination of the breadth of Black responses to white oppression, particularly those pioneered by Black women. No registration required. Books can be pre-ordered at belmontbooks.com. How are your trivia skills? Do you know which musical won the Tony in 2006 or which country exports the most wine? These were actual questions asked at past PAC trivia nights and questions to which I had no answer. Regardless of any perceived trivia inadequacies, this event is for everyone. Held on Friday, January 30th from 7 to 10 p.m., the evening is a fundraiser for the PAC, Performing Arts Company, the group that supports Belmont students with artistic pursuits. So, put together a team, come up with a clever name, and prepare to answer questions from the esoteric to the downright diabolical. There really is no way to practice, so come to have dinner, a drink, and help your team win. Trivia bragging rights. Visit bhs-pac.org for tickets and event information. Thanks to funds received from an opioid abatement grant, Belmont will host a free CPR certification, Narcan administration, Stop the Bleed class on Monday, February 2nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Held at the Belmont Fire Headquarters, 299 Trapello Road, this is a fantastic opportunity to be trained in several ways to save a life. Registration is required by emailing fireadmin@belmont-mass.gov. It's time to get in that Valentine's Day spirit. We can kick off the holiday on February 6th at the Belmont Recreation Department Sweetheart Dance. Students from kindergarten through third grade and a parent or any adult in their lives are invited to head on over to the Beach Street Center for music, games, light refreshments, and Valentine's Day crafts. Dress to impress, whatever that means to you, and have a sweet time. Registration is required at belmontmass.myrec.com. Our last event of the show is sure to leave you laughing in the aisles. On February 6th and 7th, the Belmont High School Improv Troupe will show you their comedy chops. Each improv show is guaranteed to be its own unique event featuring scenes made up on the spot based on audience suggestions, showcasing the 30-plus students in the BHS Improv Troupe, plus improvised lighting and sound by the PAC Tech Crew. This is not to be missed. Tickets are available at bhs-pac.org. Now on to something the town has eagerly been waiting for. The new Belmont Public Library will open its doors and hold a grand opening celebration the weekend of January 17th and 18th. We can now step into a library that will serve Belmont for generations to come. Here to discuss the grand opening and the new library building is Belmont's own library director, Peter Struzziero. Welcome, Peter.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent. So just give us a general introduction for those who haven't met you. Who are you?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Peter Struzziero. I'm the director at the Belmont Public Library. I've worked here as the director since 2015, so I'm coming up on my 11th work anniversary in a few months. And we've been working on the project the whole time, so very excited.
Wonderful. And tell me a little bit about the library's official opening, what people can expect.
Sure. So we're as of this recording, we're just about a week away from the grand opening. So it's going to be a weekend-long celebration that begins on Saturday, the 17th of January. We're going to open the doors officially at 9 a.m. and at 9:30, we're going to begin our grand opening ceremony with the ribbon cutting, all indoors. We'll have a few speeches and congratulations to hand out, but the library will be open for business, and we expect to see a great number of Belmontonians come in, hopefully with their library cards in hand, ready to check out books. So it's going to be a weekend-long celebration, though, I stress. So if you can't make it at 9:30 on Saturday morning, that's okay. It's going to go on all day from 9 to 5. We're going to have some targeted programming for children and families on Saturday afternoon as well as on Sunday afternoon. And Sunday will be our first official Sunday in over 2 years. So the hours will be 9 to 5 Saturday, 1 to 5 on Sunday. And with that, we will restore all of the traditional hours that we used to have before the project. So we'll be open until 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock in the children's room, Monday through Thursday. Friday is 9 to 5, and the big deal is the restoration of the weekend hours. So every Saturday and Sunday. Saturday is 9 to 5, Sunday is 1 to 5.
Fantastic. And I know that a lot of people are going to be most excited, or not most excited, but very excited by the expansion of the hours. What are you the most excited about with the new building?
Yeah, being back together again, will be one thing. So our staff's been tremendous during the last 2 years of temp space when we were really a fractured group. We've always strived to provide the best possible library service that we can. So to be in a position where we couldn't has been really difficult, But before in the old building, which was good for its day but had served its purpose, we were the 10th busiest library in Massachusetts then. So we're striving to do even more than that now. We've had a lot of staff members move on that didn't want to go through the temporary space process, and we had several key retirements. So we've onboarded a bunch of new staff as well in different positions, ranging from part-time, full-time, all the way up to management. So it's really the first time that this library team has ever been together, just this last few weeks as we've been moving in. So we're really excited to show the community what we can do and to be back together again. For me, I could go on all day, more time than we have. But for me, I mean, I came to this town to help get this project done. And in my interview, we had a public interview, and I think there was 85 members of the public that showed up because they wanted to know, how is this person going to help get this done? And what I said then carried me through now 11 years. Was we told everyone that this project was going to work this time around because it was going to be a homegrown project, and it was going to be whatever Belmont decided it should be. And that's what happened, all the way from feasibility studies to long range planning, advocacy around a vote, and fundraising now of $5 or $6 million. It's just a product of what a community can do when it really wants to invest in itself. And it's been a lot of years, decades for some. And it really took this whole community to get this project done. And now it's time to deliver on all of these promises. So it's really exciting to close that chapter and see the project come to a close. But this really isn't the end. This is the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Well, following up on that, you talked about how this was a homegrown project. What about the library that we will walk into on that grand opening day will be unique to Belmont? Or what will it fulfill? When you were talking to people at that, perhaps even at that first meeting with 85 people, and they said, we need a new library because of X, Y, and Z. What were people asking for? What's unique about this library and filling the needs of this community?
We don't have enough time to go through it all. I'll tell you the top few though. We wanted,
Okay.
first and foremost, we wanted a building that was accessible to everyone, ADA compliant and fully accessible to everybody, no matter what their mobility issues or needs might be. So we've accomplished that. No matter what your physical abilities are, you can utilize the entire building in every aspect of it. So that's huge. As well, we wanted more space for our children, so we more than doubled the size of the teen room, and we got close to tripling the size of the children's room. I don't think it's quite 3 times the size of the old room, but it's definitely more than twice the size, and it's laid out in a more effective and useful way. So more access for the children, more access for anybody that may have mobility issues, as we're fully ADA compliant. But we went from having 2 public meeting rooms in the old building to now we have more than 10. We have the Waverly Oaks room on the ground floor, as well as the Morrissey Hall, which is our biggest functional space. We have a program space just for children's, also on the ground floor, and on the second floor we have a community classroom, which is a maker space but doubles as a place where we can teach classes and give speeches. We have our Belmont Historical Society has a new and improved and expanded Claflin room that's also available as a meeting room. The Underwood room that acts as kind of a boardroom, but houses the library's historic book collection. And then there's seven quiet study rooms on top of all of that. So really, this is going to be the new destination in town to come have meetings, to come meet with, a tutor or your tax person, or if you need to have a small meeting of a few of your friends or colleagues, as well as a place for all of the many committees in town to come and meet all the multitude of town organizations that have boards, that have meetings, that give presentations. We've already got a long list of people who have asked if they can have their group's meeting or program in February,
Mhm.
March, April already in the building. So it's really going to be a
Wow.
kind of a place for everyone.
I think, when I'm hearing you say, and having heard about this process for some time, Belmont loves libraries and it loves the library. And I was wondering if you could kind of bring us to why you love libraries.
Yeah, I was raised in the library. I was made to become a librarian. I'm like I'm like the librarian. I'm the librarian that couldn't read. I had learning disabilities and struggled to read. And I was 10 years old before I could read at the level of like a 5-year-old. It took me a long time to kind of find my way as a student and as a learner. And I spent all my time in the library trying to figure it out, trying to learn. I was the kid that always did extra help after school and office hours in college and beyond. And I was built at the library. I came from a single parent home. We didn't have a lot of money. We didn't make a big deal out of birthdays and holidays. And Christmas time was usually not a time of a tree filled with presents under it. It was a time to go to the library and fill up our arms with books. I've told this story before, but maybe never on TV. But there was a Christmas break. It was probably December 22nd or 23rd, and my single mom took her 10-year-old son and her 5-year-old son to the library, and they filled up arms full of books. That was our Christmas. When we got up to the oh, choking up. When we got up to the desk, the very polite librarian said very discreetly to my mother that she owed something like $35 for some books that her 5-year-old had lost, and that they needed her to make a payment before she could take out any of the books. And the stress of the holidays, of being a single mom, all that stuff, she just burst into tears right there at the desk and was like, I don't have $35. I'm not going to have $35. Like, this is our Christmas. I don't know what to do, and 2 kids standing at her side. And this lady just put her hand on my mother's hand and was like, hey, forget it. Take the books. Merry Christmas. Don't even worry about it. And that changed our whole lives, that moment. Like, we were already a library family because we were a family of means, but then we became real library families, and that set this 5-year-old on the path to become a librarian and a library director someday. And then the day came that that woman who had become a library director was retiring. And I went and told that story at her retirement
Oh,
party. And she had no idea who I was when I got there. I was like the mystery speaker. But I told her how libraries change lives. Like, that took 2 minutes. That interaction took 2 minutes and changed my whole life. And then it made me someone who wanted to do that for others, and give back. That's the way that we make the world a little bit better over at the libraries. We help build community. And for 10 years that I've been here, 11 years I've been here, I've been looking for the chance to do the best possible product that I can in library service. And now we have the tools to do it.
thank you for sharing that story, Peter. That's wonderful. And the idea that a child from Belmont could come in and have the library change their life is really inspirational, and I can't wait to walk into the door and see all the people streaming through it and so excited by such a wonderful building. So thank you so much for spearheading this and for leading the Belmont Public Library.
But thank you. I am but a small part of a big team under the direction of Claire Coburn, the chair of our building committee, and Kathy Cohen, the legendary chair of our library trustees, who really paved the way. I've been but a supporter of them, but it's been a team effort.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today,
My
Peter.
pleasure.
That's it for this edition of the Belmont Community Calendar. If you would like to see your event featured on this program, please email event details to joanna@belmontmedia.org. Thank you. And now here's a list of upcoming Belmont meetings that Belmont Media Center will air.